It's loading right now. There it is. Yeah, so we got to this point. We've got, I think this is a room, right? Where is this room 4? But we didn't have a way to get there. I think our problem was we never see this room. The reason why we don't, we're here on this room, right? And the controller says, okay, there's no more squids on this room. I'm going to go to the next room. Remember, the controller's persistent, so it's also in this room. It doesn't see any squids, so then it tells you you're at the end of the game or something. That's not what we want. What we want is we're already telling them they're at the end of the game. So we're going to have to change our end game code a little bit. So in order for us to see this, and the controller's active, remember the controller goes to the next room when there's no more squids. So the solution, and this is really lame, this is kind of, I call these things a kludge. What is a kludge? Do you know what that means? That's what programmers means when you're doing programming that's not very elegant and you dislike, but you kind of have to do it anyway. So what I'm saying is drag one of your big legs somewhere in the room. It can be outside the room. It could be here. You could put it wherever. Just don't cover up the congratulations, but put at least one squid somewhere, because the controller will see that and won't end the game on you. Okay. You can put it outside the room. It's still part of the level, right? If you put it there, but let's see if I can select it. I can't select it. Oh, this windowing system is the worst. Okay, so make sure you put a squid in the congratulation room. Let's see if we actually see it now. Did I put the cheats in? I hope I did. Oh yeah, we have to put cheats in as well. So here's my game. I start it. Lots of levels. I really dislike the solid blocks a lot. Oh, there we go. Finally get it up there. There we go. Doop. And we win. Yay. Here's our next room. And so my hope is that we'll see the congratulations room. There it is. What's the problem? You can't do anything. There's no buttons to press. I suppose the controller's in there so you can go to the previous room. But that, again, those are all cheats. So what we want here is we want this to, well, it's looking kind of pixelated. See how pixelated it is? Why is that? Anybody know? We're stretching it, right? We're trying to stretch it to fit the room. Our room is, well, I guess we're not. Well, let's see. What's our room size? Yeah, usually our room size is 800 by 600. But actually, I made this room smaller. So I guess we're okay. But it still looks like it doesn't look quite right. But let's not worry about that. What we want to do is we want this to show congratulations for maybe 5 seconds or so. And then we want to restart the game, or we want to go back to that the menu room, the room that has all the buttons on it. So what I would do then is, in this object congratulations, we're going to add a couple of events. And we're going to be talking about alarms a lot today. But what I'd like you to do on this last congratulation object is, first of all, in its create event, we're going to set an alarm. So when this object gets created on that last room, what do we want it to do? Well, we want to do this set alarm countdown. Now, a lot of people are wondering, well, what's the counting? Is that seconds? Is that milliseconds? What is it? And it's actually frames. And I think the frame rate is 60. So if you want this to stay up for like 3 or 4 seconds, let's say 4 seconds, you would say, well, 4 times 60 is 240. Okay, so 240 frames. So you set the alarm, yeah. Yeah, what we're adding is we're in the create event. And then in the create event, we're setting the alarm. A lot of people get two things confused. This one, which is the setting of the alarm, but then there's the event of when the alarm goes off. A lot of people get those confused. First you have to set it, and then you have to create an event to say, well, what happens when the alarm goes off. Now, every object has up to 11 alarms you can set on it, and they have their own set. So we're using alarm 0, but you can use alarm 0 on other objects as well, as long as it's a different object. So here we have to add an event. We've set the alarm, but now we have to do the other part of it, which is what happens when the alarm goes off. That's this one, alarm 0. We want to make sure it's alarm 0 for our congratulations object. What happens when that goes off? Well, we just want to restart the game, I guess. So you say restart. Not restart room, restart game. And that will take us back to that start screen. Now, I would not recommend doing one of these go to rooms, go to the first room kind of things, because that way I think you'd have two controllers and then everything kind of gets messed up. So I would just restart the game, start it fresh, and it restarts the game. So let's try that. We can also get rid of some code. We're going to do that in a second. Seems to take longer to build in this new version. A lot of people think the moving ones are harder to hit, but they're actually a little bit easier because they usually move right into getting hit sometimes. Yeah, my pop moves too fast. I got to slow it down. Or my catch moves too fast. Yeah, the slower you move catch, the harder the game is. But if you make it move too fast, then you can't really do precise movement. Okay, so there we go. So watch what happens here. So we get to the end of the game. Congratulations. Wait for it a couple times. And then back to the first room. One thing we didn't see was that snarky message at the end telling you that, yeah, you won, but you usually lose. We don't need that anymore in that controller. So let's go to our controller and get rid of that. Okay, so where is that? I think it's in the controller. Yeah, here in the step event. We count up the number of big legs. If it's less than or equal to 0, then if it's not the last room, we go to the next room. Otherwise, we tell them you didn't lose, but we've already told them that in the congratulations screen. And then we restart the game. So what you can do is you can delete this. This is in the step event of the controller. Delete restart game, delete execute code, and delete the else as well. Because we're taking care of that with that congratulations screen. They won't get the snarky message, but this should still work. All right, so now we've got the last room done. We've got the help button working. We've got the start button working. We have the quit button working. The two buttons we don't have working yet are the load button, which implies that we have to figure out how to save a game. And then the hard one's going to be that high score thing. Because, again, that used to be in Game Maker and it's not there anymore. So I'm going to be down in Mexico on the beach, actually, with my laptop trying to figure out how to do that. Don't take your laptop to the beach. That's dumb. You can't see it anyways. Too much glare. So I tried it once. It doesn't work. Okay, so then now we got to do a power up. So how do you do a power up? Well, I guess we need a block to hit to do the power up. So let's make a sprite for that. The problem is there is no sprite for that. We have to make it. My drawing capabilities are terrible. So what I like to do is to start with something that already exists. So here I'm going to import. Well, we'll call this sprite. We'll we'll call this one sprite timed. This will be our timed power up. Now yours will have to be unique, but what I would do here, if I were you, is I would just do what I'm doing, make this power up, and then when you need to do your own power up, use this one as a model. So you'll actually have 3 power ups in your game. You have this one plus 2 more. Okay. So this is a time power up. What are we doing? Well, we're going to reverse gravity. So I'm going to say edit image, and I'm going to not edit. I'm going to say import. And I usually choose this white one because it's a little easier to see anything you might draw on it. So we do that. Block 7. It's kind of this mottled white color. So now I want to draw the image to kind of show me that the gravity is going to be inverted. So I'm going to use just a big red arrow. Maybe not red. I'll use a different color because the heart is red, and I don't want to get that confused. So let me edit this. And then I'm going to change my drawing color to maybe dark blue, let's say. And I can use a filled square here, or filled rectangle. That'll be the bottom of the arrow. And then the top of the arrow, maybe I use a filled triangle. So I'll go maybe one more there, somewhere in the middle. And then I'm counting pixels, so this pixel, that wasn't very good. Well, I was suggesting that you do, because then you'll have a model to do your own. Does that make sense? So I've got this arrow there, trying to show you that gravity is going to be going the other direction. Okay. It kind of looks like an arrow. It's not great, but it'll work. This side's a little bit short. I guess I could put a line in there, make it a little bit longer. So that's a little bit more balanced. Still not quite right, but okay. So there's my arrow, and now we want to create that object that uses that. So let's call this object obj underscore timed power up. This is for a timed power up. Now this. For your power up, you can make it a power down too. You know, it doesn't have to be a power up. It could be like something, a block you want to avoid. We'll choose our sprite, which is our arrow sprite. Now, what do we want to happen here? Well, first of all, we got to figure out what kind of block is it. Should it be a child of any of the other blocks? Well, do we want pop to bounce off it? And the answer is yes. Well, then we want it to be a child of wall. Do we want it to disappear when you hit it? The answer is yes. So then we want it to be a child of object block 1, which is a child of wall. I think that's what the one we want. So let's choose object block 1. There it is. And it will inherit all those things, you know, like this collision with pop, it inherits that. See how it's kind of grayed out? We didn't put that there. We just created this, right? But it's there because we made this a child of block 1. So we'll get automatically that it bounces off the block. We'll get automatically that it's power. We do want to make sure it's solid, okay? Because all the other blocks are solid. Okay. But what do we want to happen in the collision event? Well, where's the collision event? It's not here. We're not going to do it at this level. I think we want to do that at pop's level. So go to pop. So we're switching objects to object pop. And we're going to add, we have these special blocks. Let's do our new one. Collision with our new block, which is here. Object time power up. Okay. So here, first thing we want to do is we want to set the alarm. We've got to set an alarm to be able to shut this off later. So here, do another set alarm. And I'm going to say 5 seconds is a little bit short. So let's go with 10 seconds. So 10 times 60 would be 600. So that'll be 10 seconds. Okay. The alarm is set. We also have to invert gravity. So to invert gravity, I've been reading this book on anti-gravity. It's really good. I just can't put it down. Terrible. Yeah, question. Yeah, good question. Because we're already using alarm 0 for the first thing. But one thing to note is that the alarm, each object has its own set of alarms. So it's not a global thing where you alarm 0 for the whole game. It's just for that one object. So we can use alarm 0 again. So very good question. Yeah, so we set alarm 0 for, this time it's for the, well, what is it for? The object pop. This is an alarm on object pop. So 600 seconds. When the alarm goes off, well, we want the gravity to go back to normal. But first we have to get gravity to invert. So there's one called set gravity direction. We just want to set it the other way. Now typically gravity goes down. Remember, 0 is straight right. This is in degrees. 90 is up. 180 is left. 270 is down. So if we want to go up instead of down, we say 90, right? Because that's pointing straight up. Okay, so that'll change the gravity direction. But now what do we do when the alarm goes off? So we have to put an alarm event on pop. Pop's really getting busy when it comes to stuff going on. So let's look for the alarm event. And again, alarm 0. Here's alarm 0. And then here is where we set the gravity back to normal. And again, normal for gravity is 270. Okay? So 270. To test this, we're going to have to put one of these blocks in the room, obviously. So let's do that. I'm going to try it on my first room. I'm going to take out one of my life blocks. And I'll put in my anti-gravity block instead. Okay? Or reverse gravity. I don't know if it's anti-gravity. Yeah. Question? Okay. Okay, so let's try it. Let's see if it actually inverts gravity. The other thing we're trying to see if it ever goes back to normal, right? If you're doing a power up that goes to the end of the level, you just never set it back to normal. See how gravity's inverted now?
Did it set gravity up for all pops or just that one?
Oh, good question. Just that one. Just that one. Now, if you want to reverse gravity for the whole room, ooh, that's a good question. What would I do you think, on that one? How would I make it so it would be for all pops? What do you think?
Rather than selecting self, you can select the object pop.
Right, the object pop, and that means every object pop. Yeah, question?
You know when like a power-up is about to end, your character usually starts like flashing?
Flashing, yeah, that would be a good idea. How would you do that in your game to let you know that it's about to switch? Well, what you can do is you can make it invisible and then making it visible again at different intervals. Maybe, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but maybe you have 2 alarms. You set the first alarm and it makes it invisible, and then wait like 10 frames, and then make it invisible, or make it visible, and switch it back between visible and invisible 5 times, and then there's be a third alarm that would switch it back. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And that seemed to work. It seemed after about 10 seconds, it seemed to go back. So that's what we want. So that's how you do one of these timed power-ups. What's there next to do? Well, you have to do another power-up, right? And this one doesn't have to be timed. So if it doesn't have to be timed, you don't have to set the alarm. You don't have to catch the alarm when the alarm goes off. Here's some ideas that you could think about for power-ups. Now, if you're drawing a blank on what I should use for power-ups, these are some of the things I'm thinking about. You could put a wall here that's only there for a certain amount of time, right there on the bottom, and then Pop cannot fall out of the room. Okay, you could do that one, or you could make a super pop that when it hits a block, it destroys it, but it doesn't bounce. So it just plows through a bunch of blocks. That one's pretty cool. You can make catch super big, right? So you have more surface areas to bounce off of. Or you can make it a power down and we have like a tiny catch. You can use that tiny catch to make them super small, so it's really hard to play the game. You can speed up the speed of your paddle so that you can get under the ball more quickly. You could have a block that's a bomb, like if you hit it, it blows up all the other blocks around it. You could have a super special block that if you put it around a bunch of these solid blocks, but if you hit it, all the blocks fall off the screen and get out of the way or something. You try to be creative with what the power up might look like. What else could I think of? Those are all the ones I can think of right now that you might think about doing yourself. But that's how you do power-ups. Yeah, question. Yeah, it could be something new. That would be fine too. Yeah, question. Well, certainly we can't make this due today, so we have time after the break. We still have to do level design, right? A lot of us haven't made our levels yet because we haven't had all our objects done yet. I usually wait until I have all the objects done before I do level design. We have to put in our cheats. So let's put in our cheats right now. These are the cheats that are required for the game for me to grade it. If you don't put these cheats in, then you don't get graded. So where do you put in cheats? You want to put in something that's in all the rooms. And the one thing that's in all the rooms is the controller. So let's put the cheats on the controller. Now we've already done one cheat, right? If there's a next room, go to the next room. But there's certain cheats you have to add to this one. First of all, this game is based on lives, right? So we're going to create a new one here. So letters, we're going to do L. L will just add lives. It's the cheat for adding lives. If you have a really hard level, I don't want to have to play it to finish it. I'd like to cheat and be able to... You take these cheats out before you release it to the real world, but to the teacher needs the cheats, I guess. So what we do is we just add one to life here. So I guess we say live. Yeah, here, set lives. Remember though, lives is on the controller. Are we in the controller? Yes. So we can do this on self. We just say 1. Relative. That will add 1 to life. So you can just spam L and you get tons of lives. Okay. All right. So that's one cheat. The other cheat we need is the P cheat. What's that one? Remember? Previous, right? Takes you to the previous room. But we have to check something before we go to the previous room. We've got to make sure there is a previous room. So room See this one? Are you on the last room? Here's one. Are you on the first room? If the room is, well, we want to go to the previous room if it's not the first room. So you would say not here, right? Not. And then if that's true, if it's not the first room, then go to the previous room. So that way your program won't explode when you try to go to a previous room that's not there. Now this isn't great because remember our help screen is that one of those previous rooms, right? So. Yeah, question. Oh, that? Yeah, let me tell you about that. So people are still seeing that one screen coming up. I've seen it on a couple people's screens about this something you need to install from Microsoft. Again, the way to shut that off is to go down here to this window, and you say Xbox Game Bar or something like that. See that one? Enable Xbox Game Bar. For some reason, GameMaker's integrated with that, so you have to shut this off. If that's on, you get that screen every time you run a game. It's really annoying. So make sure to shut that off. Okay? Or otherwise, you get that screen that pops up. Okay. So now we have the P cheat. What other cheats do we need? There's one more. That's the R key. R is to restart the room, not the game, but the room. So if you could add that one too. Letter restart. And for that one, you say this one. Well, actually, where is it? This one. Restart room. Now I get this error every once in a while. Would you like to reload resources and save? Warning, save will update resources. It's what I'm thinking is happening here. We temporarily lose the internet connectivity with our server. I always say save, just to make sure. But anyway, now we have our cheats in there. Let's see if this game works now. So what do we have working? I just said restart the room. Boy, it's taking longer to build. I don't like that. If I say help, I'm surprised we don't go to the next room because there's a controller in this room. And if there's no squids in the room, so I don't know. But you hit any key, now you're in the game. Gravity's upside down. If I go to the previous room, previous room, yeah. There is no previous room, so it just restarts the room. If I say restart, R key, my R key is not working. I'm pressing R, it's not restarting. P, there's P, next, P. Yeah, that's working. My restart room is not working, though. I wonder why. If I press the R key, I guess my restart didn't get in there. So here, restart room. Save my game. Try this one more time. Yeah, building is taking longer. I don't like this new version. So I start the room, I say restart room, and it restarts. Okay, so that'll help me when I'm grading. I need to have those cheats there so I can grade these quickly. If we look at the rubric, well, let's do our last thing, our last object that we have to make. And this one, we're finally to the end of the construction part, code complete part. We have to make a new sprite. This is called the double hit block. This is a block you have to hit twice to make it go away. So right click here and say create sprite, and we're going to import this one, block double. It's kind of purpley, it's got a kind of a shell around it or something. So choose that block. Okay. There's our block. It looks good. Just has to exist. And now we make that object. Oh, let's give it a name. I haven't renamed it. So we'll call this block double. So SPR underscore block double. Now, if you've chosen not to rename your sprites and your objects, that's a bad thing because I can't help you. If everything's called object 0, object 1, object 2, you might know what those are. I won't know what those are. And so if you ask me for help, I can't help you if you didn't take the time to rename things. So that's sprite double. It's doing that again. Don't know why it does that. Okay, so then what do you do with this block? This one's kind of hard. Again, the behavior we want is if pop hits it once, it doesn't go away. You have to hit it 2 times. It'd be nice to see that visually. So let's try that. Let's create that block down here in the objects now. We've created the sprite, but now we need to create the block. And here, we'll say object block double. So this is our double block. Use our double sprite that we just created. And we don't want to make it a child of anything, except for a child of wall, I think. We want to get that bouncing thing kind of working. So set the parent to wall. I could be wrong about this, but we could see. But then we have to add an event when a collision event when pop collides into this one. So we're on the double block. We say pop. Okay. So what happens when pop hits this block? I'm thinking, since it's a child of wall, it's going to bounce off it. But what we want it to do, instead of going away, we want it to change itself into an object block 1. So let's do that. So this is called change instance. This one here, instance change. Grab that. What are we changing? We're changing ourselves. What are we changing into object block 1? Okay. So you want to change into object block 1. Let's see if that works. I'm going to put one in the room so we can see it. What I'm trying to see is if these blocks are the behavior I want to see is that when pop hits it, it bounces off of it, and then turns into a single hit block. And then after it does that, boy, the build is slow. Okay, so here we go. That didn't work. See how that didn't work? It hit the block once and disappeared instantaneously. Why? Oops. That's the problem with anti-gravity. You lose all your energy if it changes at the wrong time. Or reverse. So it takes a while to get the speed built back up again so you can actually hit something. It moves too far. I've got to slow down my catch. There it goes. See, so it just hit it once and disappeared. So that's not working. Why isn't it working? Yeah, see how I didn't make it solid? Our bounce only bounces off solid things, and since it's not solid, it changes into the other block, and that is solid. It bounces off that, and then it goes away. So you got to make sure you stay solid here. I forgot about that. We also have to double check our gravity or our power up block to make sure it's solid. Yeah, see, that worked that time. See, I hit it once, it turned into object block 1. Oh, I'm going to win the game. I don't want to win the game. See, watch, I hit it once, and it just hit it once. I have to hit it twice before it actually goes away. Oh. Yeah, so I lost all my energy. But anyways, the double hit block is working, which is good. Okay, so now we have another object we can put on our game. Also double check your time power up to make sure that one's solid. It is. I couldn't remember if I did that. And that's it. That's all the objects in the game. Apart from the power-ups you're going to be added, that's all the ones that are required. If you look at the assignment, there's a rubric. If you look at the rubric, you'll be able to see. Here's our rubric. We'll go to our assignment. What does this thing have to do? So we have N, we have R, we have L for life. But the room has to contain all the objects and cheats are included, at least 10 playable levels, pop rebounds off blocks which disappear. Double hit block works correctly. The split block works correctly. Life block adds 1 to lives and shows life pictures. Pop rebounds off catch correctly. Level ends when squids are gone and all 4 squid types are included. 1 time-based power-up included. 1 other power-up is included. So those are all the points that you'll get. There's 50 points in total, and I convert that to 1 to 4 somehow. Okay, so that's what this game needs to be able to do. All right, I think that's everything. Now it's just level design.